Now here to weigh in on all of this, it's libertarian icon, former presidential candidate, and current host of the Ron Paul Liberty Report. It's Dr. Ron Paul. Welcome back, Dr. Paul.
Thank you, Kennedy. Good to be with you.
Absolutely. So let's talk about these one at a time. First up, defense spending. We're not going to hear anything about trimming the military on these debate stages, are we?
No, you'll hear something about defense. They think that if you call it defense, you can spend unlimited and nobody can challenge it. But it really is military spending, and it's unnecessary. You mentioned how much we do spend, and I don't see that there's a country on the verge of invading us. We'd like, or they would like, the neocons would like us to think that China's on the verge of attacking us and destroying our society, as well as Russia. But they need an enemy, and they work their will through the global war on terrorism to build up fear. And the media helps them do this. Yeah. And guess who wins out? The military-industrial complex. They always seem to do that. And certainly both major parties now are arguing. They're arguing over who's going to spend the most on militarism, something that this country is in not much need of, needing more money there. I think we could actually have more money spent on defense if we reoriented our policies.
All right, and, you know, perhaps reorganizing the military a little bit and some smarter cuts and consolidations. But neither one of these candidates seems apt or interested in talking about that. Let's talk about the surveillance state a little bit, because as we've spoken throughout the week on this show, whenever there is a terrorist attack, either here in the United States or abroad, the instant reaction is more people, not just politicians, but more people want the United States government to spy on more people who are citizens of the United States. Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, they're not good on the NSA and spying, are they?
No, and they'll make things worse, and this has been a continuation of a bipartisan policy since 2011, and people at the very beginning said, oh boy, this is dangerous, we have to sacrifice our liberties to be safe. But the purpose of government is not to make us safe. That's somebody else's obligation. The purpose of government is to protect our liberties. It may involve some foreign policy, but this whole idea that we should sacrifice our liberties, and we do them constantly, so if they can keep agitating if the global war on terrorism continues forever, even though the odds of the war on terrorism or terrorist people dying from terrorists in this country really very slim, a lot less likely than getting struck by lightning. But if you go out and talk to the general public, you got to do something. You got to make us safe.
Well, yeah, but you know what? Look at the erosion of our civil liberties since 9/11, and I think you could argue that we are less free. We are also less safe. We've had more domestic terrorism, and we've certainly seen more terrorism overseas, including the rise of ISIS. So there is not a correlation between compromising your personal liberties and your freedom and being safer. It has been shown to be a fallacy. Now, lastly, let's talk about the war on drugs, because this is one where both candidates have been prickly about legalizing drugs, even rescheduling marijuana. And, you know, they wonder why there are so many challenges in places like Chicago and Charlotte. Perhaps it's because the criminal justice system was turned upside down during the first Clinton administration.
It's too bad they don't look at our history in the 1920s. There's not very many people out there campaigning to prohibit the drinking of alcohol, and that led to a lot of problems. But alcohol, although much more deadly drug than marijuana, but the people have been conditioned to, go along with this drug war. But the whole thing is I see a positive sign on this, because there's some nullification going on. The states are defying the federal government. The sentiment has changed compared to the 1980s when I was running for Congress and I took this position. You thought it was the strangest thing in the world. But today, you can actually win a seat in Congress and say, I think this war on drugs is foolish and we have to stop it. But I think we're sort of winning that battle, although our presidential candidates, other than, maybe both of the alternative candidates would take that position of less militancy on the war on drugs.
All right, very good. Dr. Paul, thank you so much for your time. We will be watching the debate with you in mind. Thanks again.